All right, thanks for joining my tournament recap. This is just 2 warm-up holes, so I can give a little quick introduction here. It's at Frank Liske Park, which is my home course because it's closest to work. Wide open course. It's a very windy day, and the tournament director sent out an email mentioning some added hazards that I'm definitely not used to. On top of that, the grass is very tall, so you're not getting any ground play, and the hazards are hard to see from the tee pad. As you can see here, you can see where all the hazards have been added, and hole 7 is out of play, temporary hole 19 instead. So my tee shot in hole 1 was fine. I avoided the hazard, gave myself a birdie look, but that tailwind just dropped my disc out of the sky like I've never seen before. Nothing wrong with a par on hole 1 though. Here I am teeing off on hole 2. It is a right to left crosswind, and that wind dropped my disc because I put a little too much hyzer on it, but still gave me a pretty far birdie putt with an easy tap in par if I miss. So low pressure situation here. My tee shot in hole 3 was fine. Give myself a bit of a scramble to save par, which is the usual for me, and I put it right under the basket for pars. In my opinion, hole 4 is the toughest hole out here. The goal is to get it out of the woods off the tee, and I had an early tree kick that put me in a bad position, so I'm scrambling again. And my scramble had a pretty bad kick too, so I'm looking at bogey or worse. The basket on this hole has OB in front of it, to the right of it, and behind it, so I left it a little too far left. And I kind of had a bad lie where I was forced to straddle putt due to this tree on my back, but it's still a short putt. And I just missed it. I kind of just fluffed it. It was really disappointing. That's my first double bogey in a tournament since I got back into competing. I'm used to starting my rounds at Frank Liske over par and then fighting back to get under par, so I'm not too concerned about that double bogey. I left this tee shot very far left over OB the entire time. It skipped from the OB inbounds to a great position. This is a very tricky green to try and land on safely, so I throw my upshot.
Did it sit?
And my card mates are telling me that it rolled, but it's not deep into the woods. It left me with about a 40-foot putt for birdie on a very tricky green because of the slope. And this putt felt good out the hand.
Sit down. Sit down. Oh!
Until it hit rim and decided to roll away on me, giving me a far comeback putt. And this putt's now for par. I hit metal and had a bit of a roll, but then I made my bogey putt. Hole 6 is a tricky one. I go forehand hyzer flip and I try and get a fade at the end because the basket is deep right.
If that pushes.
And it must have been the best tee shot I've ever had on this hole. I've never birdied it, and now I'm looking at a pretty easy birdie putt. And I left that putt real short. I was so disappointed. I just lost confidence in my putt after the 3 putt on the hole before it. Hole 8's a fun hole. I almost always birdie it when I play here. Just bomb it off the tee, get a nice upshot, and tap in for birdie. That's the goal. And I absolutely crushed that tee shot. It left me with a nice and easy approach shot, but there's hazard behind the basket and to the right. But I just put it right under the basket for a tap in birdie. Give me a little bit of momentum here. Finally taking the stroke back on the course. The tee shot for hole 9 is just one of those, just rip it as far as you can, and I absolutely crushed my tee shot. So my throwing's feeling real good. I just got to get my putts in line. The approach shot on hole 9 is what's pretty tough. There's 2 trees to avoid, and I didn't realize that there was hazard to the right. I kind of left it with too much anhyzer and landed in that hazard, which is really disappointing. So that was a bogey. Hole 10 is another open par 4. Again, just rip it off the tee and get far right to avoid these hazards that are on the left, which is exactly what I did.
Is that path out of bounds?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I read something.
It's hard to tell from here, but there were some hazards short and right of the basket, and I kind of just fluffed my approach shot. I should have put it right under that basket for a tap and birdie, but I left it very wide and gave myself a circle 2 putt here. And this putt felt really good out of the hand, and I just clipped 1 chain and got my par. Hole 11 is a must get for me. It's just an overstable mid-range with hyzer. Keep it wide, let it hyzer in from the open to the woods. And I did just that, almost aced it actually, and I got my tap in birdie. Hole 12 is a wild tee shot. I try and just put it in the air with a lot of anhyzer and have it flex. And I didn't put enough anhyzer, but a par is totally fine on this hole. Gave myself a little bit of a birdie opportunity here, and I like taking these falling putts from a knee from deep. It's kind of like my signature move. So I was trying to find the best line to get under or around these branches that are hanging pretty low. And I gave that one an honest bid. It almost went in, but it didn't. Tap in par is totally fine on a hole like this. Hole 14 is a fun one. It's downhill, but it's over 400 feet, so it's just rip it off of that tee pad, try and land near the basket and make your putt. Mine ended a little too far to the right, but the distance was perfect. I'm definitely making the right choices off the tee with my disc selection and my shot shapes. All I need to really get my round going is to make one big putt. And I just left this birdie putt short. I mean, it was a far putt, but it would have been nice to make that. Unfortunately, I don't have a great camera angle here, but I absolutely launched this tee shot. It was beautiful, stayed clear of any hazard, and gave me an opportunity for an up and down for birdie. And this hole's uphill and it's very far. You can kind of see the hazard on the left there, but I'm taking a backhand for this up shot, and it's like kind of out of range for my backhand, but I gave it an honest bid. And it left me about 25 feet from the pin. I was really nervous walking up to this putt because my putt has not been feeling good this round, and I need this. This is my moment to turn my round around and gain some momentum on the putting green. And I was so happy to hear those chains and see that putt land. I really needed that. Now I feel like I'm in control of my round again. Hole 15 is one of those holes here that I love to attack, and it's just a great birdie to get. So I kind of left this a little early with too much hyzer, skipped on the mulch, bounced off the tree, and still ended up to the right, but left myself with this as a birdie putt. And there it is. That's 2 birdies in a row on some pretty tough holes. So now I'm happy. I think that brought me back to even from 3 over par for most of this round. Hole 16 is really uphill. Not many people are going to birdie this hole.
You asshole. I hate when I do that.
I hit the first available tree, which I do like 1 in 5 times here. I had a really good approach shot, but still left it very far for a par putt. And it felt great to make that. My putt's finally locked in. It's late in the game, but not too late. Hole 18 is very far and uphill, but it's usually just a tap-in birdie for me. Ripped this tee shot. It got knocked down a little bit by the wind. And so I landed inside this painted area, but there was no flags. You could see that X is where I landed, and it says flags and paint are hazard. So at this point, it's debatable whether I birdied or parred that hole. We decided to consult the tournament director, and he said that it is hazard and someone removed the flags. So nobody's seen this temporary hole 19 yet before. I just saw backhand hyzer line, just got to avoid those trees, which I did, and I left myself with the circle 1 putt for birdie. It felt great to make that putt. 1 under par is a totally okay score with all these hazards and the wind and the grass not being cut. These were tough conditions out here. It was a battle from 3 over to get to under par. So I ended up tied for 4th in my division with a round rating of 934, which is totally fine by me.